He was harassed by the Hong Kong police and was sent Yakuza flowers as a warning because of his activism. Now, this hedge fund manager says the extradition bill puts Hong Kong's economy at risk. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. Today I'm here with Ed Chin, a Hong Kong activist, hedge fund manager, and founder of 2047 Hong Kong Monitor. Thanks for joining me today, Ed.
It's good to see you again, Chris.
So tell me a bit about 2047 Hong Kong Monitor.
Sure. After the umbrella movement, which ended in December 2014, because there's no more occupation, there's no more umbrella movement, the name is changed to 2047 Hong Kong Monitor. It used to be called the Finance and Banking Group that support Occupy Central. Mm-hmm. So we want to fight for Hong Kong's democracy until the 50-year non-intervention policy comes to an end, hopefully. So that's why the name
Which is in 2047, yeah.
Yes.
So you've been fairly outspoken. Have you faced any backlash?
Yeah, especially in the last 6 months or so during the so-called U.S.-China trade war at the very beginning. Our core values, meaning freedom of speech, freedom of press, and also our judiciary is under challenge almost anytime.
Yeah, well, pro-democracy legislators have been kicked out of office.
Yeah.
But you said you faced backlash for this?
Because they visited my office where we are filming now, inside my boardroom.
When you say they visited you, what do you mean?
Well, this is someone, usually when you see a police visit your office, they have to have a warrant of sorts, right? And they could make up an excuse saying, this is interesting. January 1st, it's a public holiday, statutory holiday. Mm-hmm. And then the police claim that someone received they received a phone call and saying that someone who comes into my office on January 1st for an interview, for a job interview, and after 2 hours didn't come out. So that makes me kind of suspicious who would make such a claim, and then they just come in with an excuse just to intimidate you for no reason. I never mentioned it publicly, so this is the first time.
Wow.
And it's not just one time, it's many times within a month.
How many times?
Actually, 8 times.
So Hong Kong police visited you 8 times?
Not just here, but also residential. That means sending an ambulance, sending a fire truck. So that makes me wonder, am I very popular? No, but does it have anything to do with the signs that we raise up? So we did raise the concern to the right party, so to speak. I don't want to be too vivid about who I visited. But after 5-6 months of an investigation, the police came back with a letter saying that nothing can be found. That's on record.
Nothing that could be found at your place when they came to visit?
They cannot find the person who made these prank calls, but it's something that makes your neighbors and even people around you think, hey, what's going on, right?
Yeah, if ambulances and fire trucks are showing up outside your place of residence or the office?
Yeah, that too, residence. And I'm not trying to have a barbecue inside a condominium, right? Like a huge one. So, but at 3:30 a.m. when you see these different things.
It was in the middle of the night?
In the middle of the night.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I also understand you got a nice bouquet of flowers one time?
Yeah, that's the one time that makes me really got concerned, because I think about the nerve gas, or they call it a nerve agent, that I think 2 years ago, there was a father and a daughter who were Russian spy who live in the UK. They sniff into that, and then that caused a permanent brain damage. So, of course, when I receive, roses, if it is like the Yakuza from Japan, that means a death ultimatum, kind of telling you not to say things that they don't like. But anyways, I think to say this publicly, I'm just saying that I want to defend Hong Kong's value. That's why I say this. Hong Kong shouldn't be like any other place that is inside China. Hong Kong is still Hong Kong, right?
Yeah.
So I want to save it and say I want to protect the core values. That's why I'm outspoken today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that seems perfectly reasonable. Maybe whoever that anonymous person was that sent you the bouquet of roses, maybe they were just trying to thank you.
Oh, thank you for being outspoken. Yeah. I hope so. Yeah.
It's better than some Yakuza sending you nerve gas tainted flowers.
Yeah. But that was in January, and now we're sitting in a very uncertain time in Hong Kong now because of this extradition treaty. And then a lot of people went to the streets just a few days ago, and then turned into a bigger thing that we haven't seen after 5 years after the umbrella movement.
Well, speaking of the extradition bill, you've been very outspoken about it. And this bill would allow the Hong Kong government to send people in Hong Kong to mainland China for trial. How would the extradition bill affect the economy of Hong Kong?
It is showing a lot of side effects now, and actually the last few months, especially since April, I think things kind of got escalated after 2 or 3 rallies. Now, the first rally, I think it was in March. We only got 13,000 people who show up. And then end of April, April 28th, we got 130,000. And then the last one that we had was just less than 10 days ago. We had over 1.03 million. Over 1 million people came out. That's unprecedented.
In a city that has 7 million people.
Yes, 1/7 of the population came out just to say no to legalized kidnapping of Hong Kongers and foreigners who live in Hong Kong or anyone passing by to China.
So as a hedge fund manager, what do you think this is going to do for the economy of Hong Kong?
Now, because after the 1.03 million rally, 3 days afterwards, there was also police brutality near the central, near the electrical building. And then the police also, these are like riot police, beat up everyone. And then they fire more than 150 tear gas canisters with rubber bullets and also beanbag bullets, and then using batons to bash everyone. And then facing the head, not the limbs, the head. So some long-only managers were saying if things get worse, they will pull out. And then one hedge fund manager told me that he would dump all Hong Kong stocks if one person dies from this event.
And so a lot of the wealthy of Hong Kong are looking to move their money outside of Hong Kong.
That too, that's related to offshore banking. Okay. There's a lot of inquiry. And then the latest count was that if you check the offshore banking units, more than 30% new inquiries. So it's like every hour, the offshore banking unit of any global bank would have a lot of businesses, meaning that they don't trust the Hong Kong jurisdiction. If things get worse, if they park their money overseas, let's say in an overseas offshore jurisdiction, all they have to do is just to wire the money to the offshore banking side of that bank. So I was telling people that in the worst case scenario, you should have at least 60% of your liquid cash in the offshore banking side of that bank that you use.
So you've seen as sort of the rule of law has been changing, or as sort of the rule of law has been eroding in Hong Kong, wealthy people in Hong Kong can't trust that their fortunes inside of Hong Kong is safe.
I just, 2 hours ago, I was reading the Apple Daily, which is the highest circulation newspaper in Hong Kong, and also a pro-democracy newspaper that's under a lot of attack. They had a feature saying one wealthy person, this is not like your mass affluent, so it's like a tycoon in Hong Kong, move 100 million 100 million US.
Oh.
100 million US, it's what, a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, to Singapore. Yeah, so it's like a global bank, US-based global bank with Singapore as the other regional headquarters. So it's like transferring money from a Hong Kong jurisdiction to Singapore. That means something.
So the reaction from the wealthy, is this different than what happened in 2014 with the umbrella movement?
2014, it's fighting for one person, one vote without pre-screening. This time, I also see the pro-Beijing business people come out on the streets because they are also afraid that they don't know whether they would went into trouble if they don't pay a certain bribe, let's say to open a factory. There are many different levels of government. You have to use not just guanxi, but you have to use money to get certain licenses to get your electricity, your hydro, whatever, right? So they were afraid that by doing these, like they would fall into the trap of breaching this so-called proposed new extradition treaty or bill, that they would fall into this landmine themselves. So they were also not too happy about it. Now, these are the normal pro-Beijing guys.
So it's universal suffrage. That doesn't matter to a lot of these people. But
No.
when it starts to threaten their fortunes, that's what got these people out on the streets.
Yes, because China court could say you break certain rules and then ask the Hong Kong court and then ask the commercial crime unit of the Hong Kong police to freeze your Hong Kong bank account and make it under investigation for a period of time. Then you can't do anything. Then you are stuck, right?
Which is why you want to get your money out of Hong Kong.
Yes, and also you could be tried inside a China court, and then you could be like another Causeway Bay bookseller who go missing, right? So people are kind of concerned. So it's not just the normal activists in Hong Kong, which are activists like Joshua Wong and also Professor Benny Tai is serving jail time right now in Hong Kong as we are filming this.
Carrie Lam has just announced that she's going to postpone the extradition bill. Do you think that's going to take away people's fears?
I think yes, to a certain extent, but also no, because this is putting it to a pause. What does a pause mean? If you play your computer, pause, you could play this evil thing again. So I think a lot of Hong Kongers, after this extradition proposal, is put forth from a few months ago, we lost trust in the government. A lot of people, they might think that after the umbrella movement, people don't care anymore because no matter what you do, they will still find the chief executive that Beijing likes, and then that's about it, right? Nothing you can budge about. But this is more about their lives, about their well-being, their security, both financial and also personal. So everyone is fighting very hard about it. But I also think that a lot of people, after the so-called horror movie, the horror show, a lot of people have decided to leave Hong Kong this summer. If they have kids, why not just go back to places where they immigrated before? A lot of people relocated after 1997 too, to be honest. Over 300,000 Canadians come back, and when they see, hey, things look okay. But things were okay in the first 10 years, I would say. But things are not okay now when you have a president who has an unlimited term that concerns people too. And Carrie Lam is being looked as a puppet, but she has been quite ruthless in the way she handles Hong Kong people. Not just the kids, but also across all segments of the society. We have been very discontented about what she did.
Yeah, I've been hearing in Hong Kong people in Cantonese just call the extradition bill evil law.
Yes, right? Yes. It is evil because it is a horror show, put it this way, and people can't sleep. And then there's also, put it in finance term, we call it like an option that the Hong Kong government just put out, right? As a put option. That means it's putting you down, and then it's with a short-term expiry date. So the time value is kind of depleting very fast. And then we thought it would be end of June before Donald Trump and President Xi meet for the G20 meeting. So they are setting up a very evil platform to scare everyone, including Americans like yourself, and then good that we do this in Hong Kong. But next time, who knows, right?
Yeah, I'm happy it got in.
Yeah, if the extradition bill is passed, then a lot of people might not want to come.
Now, as I understand it, in response to the extradition bill, the U.S. has considered changing some of its policies toward Hong Kong. How do you think that would affect the economy of Hong Kong?
If the so-called Hong Kong Policy Act, if the U.S. kills it, which would be still, I think it's not likely yet, unless the Hong Kong government does something very stupid, which is close to the edge of doing something stupid. Because an EXCO member, meaning the executive board, so to speak, of Hong Kong, one guy's name is Bernard Chen. He was hinting that he did not want to see people to use he didn't use the word military action, but enforcement. He did not want to see any enforcement people other than the Hong Kong police to clean up the mess, so to speak.
Sort of implying China's People's Liberation Army.
Which is just 1 minute walk away from Carrie Lam's office.
That's true. The garrison is very close to
the chief executive office. Now her office is just next to the electrical, and then you cross the street, then is the PLA barrack.
That was some very interesting city planning.
Yes, very interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like scaring quite a few people. Yeah.
So do you think the extradition bill is the end of Hong Kong's autonomy?
If the extradition bill is passed, and I mentioned it quite publicly too, that means that putting one country to systems experiment, not to a halt, but it's finished. It's finished. But think about it. It was Deng Xiaoping, the former paramount leader after Tiananmen. That was a big mistake. And then because of that, he think about this very good idea, using economic reform to make the people think, have a second look at China. And then, of course, Hong Kong people do benefit from the so-called economic miracle that we benefit in the last 30 or so years. Yeah, even like before 1997, because the joint declaration was signed in 1984. And then, of course, afterwards, there was Tiananmen. But and then Deng Xiaoping gave us so-called reassurance that things would be okay. Some people took a leap of faith and come back to Hong Kong. I being one, I came back in the year 2000. So this is almost 20 years for myself being in Asia and also Hong Kong.
So if somebody watching wanted to learn more about you or some of the causes that you're standing up for, where should they go? What should they do? I know you are also a book writer.
Well, occasionally I write one book every year. Usually the first 3 chapters on finance. The next 2 chapters is more on activism and democracy stuff. And then I'll put your picture in the book too, like this
that'd
interview.
Be great.
Yeah. Usually we have the Hong Kong Book Fair in the middle of July. So if the evil bill is not passed, then definitely the book can be printed, and then they can see the new book, the trilogy. This will be the part 3 of this How to Hedge Your Risks in Uncertain Times, part 3, during the book fair.
Be careful, you're becoming a Hong Kong bookseller.
Yeah, wow. Thanks for reminding me that.
But yeah, for people watching, is there a website or a Twitter handle? Where can they learn more about you?
If they could look into my personal public Facebook page is Edward Chin. It's very easy to find. And then our activist group, it's 2047 HK Monitor. And then you will see a lot of things in English and also in traditional Chinese.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Ed. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Chris, and see you in Hong Kong soon, I hope.
I hope we can both be in Hong Kong, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.